Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is the next prep video for Dragons of Icespire Peak, or DOIP. I want to talk about the Dwarven Excavation today and the changes I'll be making to it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to dive into here. Here is the original map. This is the one we're all kind of familiar with right here, right? We've all played this and gotten it through D&D Beyond. As you can see here, the temple's very short. There's not much to it. Of course, it's a beginner's quest, right? So I understand that. But it's pretty bare bones, as most of these maps are. So I wanted to go back and change this. Now, my first playthrough, I did this, which is going to look a little underwhelming when I first show you. But I did this. This was done in Dungeon Draft. As you can see, I kind of kept it close to what the original was. Hardly any other rooms to explore. Basic, really, I mean, just all around basic. Just one little tunnel, a tunnel here, and an open area, open space here. And this was it. And what I decided to do with this, though, this is just the foundation I made in Dungeon Draft. What I eventually did was, let's move up here. I put it into Tabletop Simulator and made a 3D environment, right? So this was the exterior. As you can see, there's like some spears sticking up here. This gets really pixelated if I zoom in. But I put some mountains, and here's the an overhead. You can see some 3D tokens that I crafted and drew and created. Here's just another overhead. There's a lot of 3D elements. We got walls, we got crystals shining in, and all kinds of things. This is a great example of, here I've the bottom base is Dungeon Draft, and the rest here is just all these tokens that I drew and turned into like 2D elements. And this is down that main corridor. Oops, there we go. And this is that open space, right? So it's still very basic. I don't think there's anything more here. Okay, there's a few more. Here's these statues that I made that I've actually replaced with something else this time. But it's a nice environment, right? I mean, it is cool. I like the 3D elements and stuff, but I kind of wanted to, this might be the last one here. I just wanted to get away from this. I like this, but it's still too simplistic, right? There's just nowhere to explore, nor was there really any areas to explore in the original map either. But this was fun for when it was my first playthrough, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. So here's what I've done. Now I've kind of made two maps. I've separated them out. Now this is the new map of part 1, and this is the exterior. Now this is not in Tabletop Simulator. This is just kind of the map I did in Dungeon Draft, and went in, I painted all the lava in because I just wanted to give it a different feeling. I've got some cloud cover here and shadows, but it's a little bit closer to what the exterior of that first portion of the map is. But I wanted this to be more of a threat because at the end of the day, after I ran the campaign, I was like, well, wait a minute, why didn't they just hole up in the Dwarven Excavation? Instead of trying to run to Axelholm, why didn't everybody just, if you cleaned it out and there was nothing left, why didn't you just stay? And you could have just ignored Axelholm altogether. So in this case, in my prep here, you can see lava has poured in to this section. There's a bridge here. That was supposed to be a stone bridge. I goofed that up. But lava is starting to break through and stuff. So this temple is going to be very unstable. There's going to be earthquakes, a lava flow, and a skill challenge at the end where people are running out of here as lava's comes pouring into this place near the end of the session. So I wanted to create a structure that was foreshadowing, right? Like it was already foreshadowing doom to come, but this was not going to be a safe place, and that's why I'm kind of want to mark this off the list as a place that the family can hide and take refuge in it with when the dragon attacks. But this is the exterior. We got some broken down ruins in here. Most of it's kind of the same. We got some places where they can explore. I'll have audio logs and different things hidden in the debris. And then there's a door right there. You can barely see it. It's right there. And then there's sentinels, dwarven sentinels that'll come flying out of here. And there's a skill challenge on the door. He has to get like 3 successes. He has to lockpick 3 separate times using skills because it's like a trick lock. It's a magic lock to keep people from just wandering into the temple. So this is the exterior. This will be brought into Tabletop Simulator and given just a few 3D elements and some lighting, and that's about it. Now let's look at the second one, which is the interior. Now, before we do that, okay, let's just look at this right now. The interior I based on a real temple, the Temple of Hathor at Dendera. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce any of this, but this is what I used. I wanted to try to look at real temples, real life temples. How would you set it up? And I didn't use all these rooms, as you'll see, but here's the entrance and the main foyer, and you have these antechambers, and then right into the main sanctuary with a lot of storage rooms over here and laboratories and treasuries, right? So I really kind of kept some elements from this, but let's look at the new one. All right, so here's the interior. It looks so much better in Tabletop Simulator because I got lighting and different things going on. It's a much darker environment, but this is just a very vanilla look at the map. So I've extended it beyond just one corridor in one room, basically, from the map, right? They come in down here. Here they'll be challenged by the door. The door actually speaks. It's like a giant skull. and it doesn't really challenge them that much as far as, hey, you're not allowed in here. It just wants to know why they're there. But they come down this single corridor, a lot of skeletons and whatnot, remains of the priests that were slaughtered here. And just like the real life temple stuff that I copied, there's some storage rooms. Here's a treasury where they could go in here and they'll find gems, all the things they've stolen from slaves, stolen from captives to give to Abathor and to commence with their sacrifices. Here, this is all kind of caved in. Down here, we still have more storage rooms for their supplies, like a kitchen area, and this is cages where they actually kept the slaves, right, for all the sacrifices. Now you can see it's all unstable. All this stuff's brewing on the outside of the temple, and they can feel the heat and everything coming through. There's some cracks in the floor here where the lava vents are pouring through. Down here is where they prepare the bodies for sacrifice, and then we have a corridor down here where actual priests are buried. One of the things, I gave Norbus motives, as he wants to come to this temple to find his ancestors. It's very similar to my first playthrough. He's looking for his ancestors' bones. He's not leaving until he finds them, so he's going into the temple to get his ancestors' bones out of there so he can rest in peace in the afterlife, right? So that's his main motivation. So they're going through here, and then of course here's the main sanctuary. This is where he'll find his ancestors' bones. I have an altar and statues, a couple broken pillars and things crumbling through. But this is also where a new enemy type is going to be introduced. Now, if you'll notice, glyphs. There's these glyphs everywhere. I actually have drawn a glyph. I should have used it, but it's too late now. I'm not going to go back in there. But you can see they're kind of all over, like at random. All the way up in here, down here, down here. I mean, there's some down in here, and all the way to here. Now, what those glyphs are is where the vessel of Abathor, a Atrionok, I mean, like what's the word? Like an executioner was unleashed on the temple because the dwarves had done poor sacrifices. They had not given enough jewels. So Abathor sent his vessel of wrath into the temple and slaughtered everyone. And this will be foreshadowed in the audio logs that I have for the adventure. So this is where he teleported. He was just teleporting everywhere to catch up with all the priests. And one priest managed to escape, and that priest made it all the way to Axholm. But here's like the last glyph, you know, that tried to get him, but that one priest got out. So that's how the story got out. That's how they know some things that happen in this area. But you can see now the players can come in. They'll be able to look at this glyph. They'll, you could do some history, religion, magic checks and whatnot to kind of figure out what the heck is going on. But these glyphs are still powerful. They're radiating magic. But that's what I have in store right now for Dwarven Excavation. Let me just show you the tokens I'm using. These are the creatures I'll be using for the exterior and interior. Let me jump to that real fast. Okay, here's the first one. I'll show you real quick. Here is this is a sentinel, the Dwarven Wing sentinels of the Dwarven Excavation. Is there anything in here? Maybe it's a little bit better in here. I'm not sure. Nah, it's not really all that great. Oh, I'll show you. This is the first one I used. This is the one I drew. And Tabletop Simulator was having issues with these pointy feet. So it didn't work out as well as I would like. So I had to go back in and redraw them. But this is, I just had that image, I think it's over here, but this is them, they're winged, and I have a whole audio effect set up for this when we start the adventure. But they come out of the wall, these wings snap out, and they can fly really, really fast at the adventurers. So that's, let's see, that's where I want to be. That's some of the tokens that will be attacking them, as well as this one here. This is the Dwarven Golem. This is the vessel of Abathor. And these things are almost giants. They're huge, and they're constructs, and they're made from bits of the temple, including those crystals. And that was in my first playthrough. You saw that map 3D. There's a lot of crystals. Well, I'm going to still describe it that way. I'm just not going to have those 3D elements. But you can see these crystals are embedded in these creatures. These are the ones that were teleporting in the glyphs, chasing all these priests down and killing them. So this is what they will be fighting near the end when Norbus finds his long lost ancestors' bones and tries to remove them. The sentinels and the vessels of Abathor are not going to have it, right? They're just like, no, you are not leaving. So anyway, so these are the creatures they'll be fighting in there. And before I had some statues, it was cool, but just again, you do a second playthrough, and you want to change it up a little bit, just a little bit. So guys, that's it. That's my prep. That's what I'm doing. That's the things I'm changing in Dwarven Excavation as far as interior, exterior maps and the tokens. I'm taking out the jellies, obviously. I never played with them the first time. And just doing things a little bit differently. There's a lot of things I'm printing out as far as notes and things they can investigate and find. There's a lot of things in this temple, but this is basically it, right? So guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. See you in the next one.